Hey, that's right. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to Sty Times, all of you. It's great to see everybody. I've just gotta shout out at the folks that like to chat right at the beginning of the show. They come in early. I try to get it posted a couple hours in advance so folks know what's coming up. And but I got certain folks love to pop into the chat before the show ever comes close to starting. And Will the Rocker was the first one in here, popped right in. Then I had Eileen. Hello. Great to see you, Eileen. And she's got Granny's GoFundMe link up there. Remember, folks, if you got a couple bucks to spare, help Granny out. Help Granny out. You know, it's things are coming together, but slowly for her. So anything we can do to help her out. Then we had Scott Hall jumped in. Um, And we had James Bernard. Great to see you, James. That's awesome. Awesome. There's Metal Music Maniac. Yeah. There's Gemma. Gemma Journey Grace. Great to see you, Gemma. Great to see all you folks. Yeah. I this evening's topic. Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff. Um, I saw it on my show list and I thought, I use a random number generator and it picks whatever show is going to be next kind of thing. And but I saw this one on the list and I plugged it in. I didn't even to pick a random show. I picked this one because lately, lately, I've had so much of the small stuff just getting in the way all the time. Just all the small stuff. And I don't even know if I can properly describe what all the small stuff's been. The Hey Spicy, he's driving, can't chat, but hey everyone, that's good to see you. Lori J, it's great to see you too. Yes, wonderful folks, wonderful folks. But all these little things, I mean, I'm trying to get the beard's fluffy, humid, right? Yeah. Actually, it is pretty humid here right now. It's only 40 degrees outside, but fog. You can only see about maybe quarter mile visibility. It's pretty doggone foggy. All that fog settled in over Lake Superior, and it's just sitting there. Um, so we got heavy fog. Yeah, a little bit of fluff. Yeah, but as I was, oh, Eileen, Eileen, girl, that's Eileen, you are just so amazing. Look at that. Love you too, girl. Love you too. That's so wonderful of you. Thank you so much. Goes a long ways. Goes a long ways. It's going to help cover some of the expenses for this summer, for camp and all the content I'm going to try to pound out. The Saucy Shane's in the house. Great to see you, Saucy. The So and I mentioned camp. So here's the thing. I've got so many ducks that I got to get in a row to be ready to head to camp. And I've been waiting to find out what my carved in stone date is that I have to show up at camp. Well, today I found out, which was nice. May 1st, as the sun's coming up, I'll be backing into my campsite. But there is so much that I have to do to get everything done and be ready to go. Certain appointments I've had, certain things I had to go to the store and get, deliveries being delivered where I have to be there when it's delivered. And so many of those things got goofed up. most of those had a time schedule attached to them. And it either showed up early or it showed up late, never right on time. Well, that screwed up the next project I had. So everything seemed to have something throwing it off. And I was allowing myself to slowly build some anger over this, right? I'm starting to think, oh man, this is becoming a big issue. This is a real problem. I am so upset. And I stopped trying to calm down and think about it. And then I realized, no, well, now wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. What I'm doing is I'm taking all of these little unfortunate mishaps and I'm allowing each one of them to become a major issue instead of just accepting the fact each one of them are just little minor mishaps. I mean, I'll get beyond it. It's not a big deal. It's small stuff. But when you sit and start allowing all these little things to pile up, the next thing you know, every little thing that doesn't go just right becomes a major issue. That's why you shouldn't sweat the small stuff. So I had to ask myself, why are you sweating all the small stuff? There's bigger issues in life, there's bigger things in life. I don't have to sweat the small stuff. Just take it for what it is and move on, for crying out loud. Yeah, was it upsetting? Yeah, it was a little upsetting, but things happen and it's just small stuff. It's not going to change the world. It's not going to affect my life so badly that I have to worry about it. And I have to feel stressed out over a little something going wrong. Now, here's an example for you. Now, this is funny. This happened to me yesterday. It's a small thing, but boy, I didn't react like it was small stuff. I shouldn't have sweated the small stuff. My boy called me, my youngest boy, and he said, Dad, can you help me out at 3:00 today? And I said, well, yeah. I thought, no problem. I can fit that in. 3:00. Yeah. He says, I'm getting a new truck. He says, I need you to take me over to the dealership to pick up my new truck. And I thought, well, that's cool. That's neat. Because that boy needed a new truck. His old truck was literally on its last leg. I mean, it just doesn't want to start half the time. His truck, the 4-wheel drive is shot in it. And so many things wrong with it that by the time he fixed everything, he'd be better off going and buying a better truck. Well, he got himself a sweet deal. He got a 2007, it's 13-year-old truck. But boy, that bugger almost looks like it just came off the showroom. There ain't a spot of rust on there. You look at the frame, it's spotless. I mean, very, very well taken care of truck. And he got it for about $2,000 below book price. And I actually thought book was a little cheap for that truck. So I take him. I go over to his house. I park out front. I didn't even think he was home from work yet, but no, he was in the house. So when he saw me pull up about 20 minutes early, I figured I'm just going to sit out in the truck, enjoy a cup of coffee, listen to the radio, and wait for him to get home. Well, here he comes out of the house. He gets in the truck, and he's so excited, right? He's got his insurance papers and stuff, it's go pick up his new truck. I took that kid down there. We checked the whole truck out. He got his truck. Hey, Lucky's house, good to see you. Check that whole truck out, bumper to bumper. scoured that whole truck. I told him, I said, you got a sweet deal. You got a sweet deal. And he says to me, they got everything put together, everything done. He's ready to go. They put the temporary plates on it. Guy hands him the key to the truck. Well, it's got a electronic fob, one key. He asked the dealer, where can I get a replacement key? I got to get a second key just in case. And the dealer said, oh, you just go down to the GM dealer down here, down to the Chevy dealer, and they can replace, get you a duplicate. Yeah, well, okay. Hi, Mr. Fulton. So he said, boy, I'm going to do that right away. When I pull out of here, I'm going to head right over to the dealership and get myself a spare key. I said, you better do that. I said, I have a bad habit of locking my keys in the dang truck. And I said, having that fob attached to the key is the problem. If you lock your keys in the truck and the fob's hanging from the keys, well, you can't get in the truck. I said, so that's a good idea. What did I do? I went and I made a couple of stops on the way home. I get home, park in the parking lot. I get out of the truck, hit the locks, slam the door shut, and I go, oh, no. And guess what? I've got 2 spare fobs for my truck. One on the keychain with the single key I have, one in the glove compartment, and one that I usually have in a shirt pocket or a jacket pocket or my pants pocket when I leave the house. When I get home, I take it out, put it on the table. So I've got 3, 2 in the truck. Well, 2 in the truck if I've got the key in the ignition, and 1 here at the house. Well, the one from the house, I had it in my shirt pocket, and it was driving me nuts. It was just, I didn't like it in there. So I took it out and I put it up. There's a little holder up on the dash. I put it in there. So when I slammed that door shut, guess what I did? I locked my key and all 3 of my key fobs in the truck. I was out there stomping and spitting and sputtering and having a fit. And all of a sudden I had to stop myself and I go, at least you didn't lock your phone in the truck. So I took my phone out, dialed 911, called the local dispatcher, and I said, this is a non-emergency call. I said, could you possibly, when it's convenient for an officer, send an officer over? I locked my keys in the truck. The dispatcher laughed. I know the fellow. And he laughed and he goes, well, that's 3 times in a year, Sty. I said, I don't even want to go there. That officer showed up and he happened to be an officer I knew. And he's kind of he's trying to be serious. And I finally burst out laughing and he goes, bad day, huh? I said, I was making it into a bad day. The weather was nice. It was 50 degrees out, light breeze, comfortable outside. So I sat on the bumper of the truck, back bumper of the truck, just enjoyed a couple of smokes, and he showed up. But I had made a big fit out of it for at least 5-10 minutes. It was small stuff. There was an answer to it. There was an easy out. No panic. Shouldn't have been any panic. It wasn't the end of the world. I was going to survive. And so instead, I went and sweated the small stuff when all I needed to do is go, well, you know where it's going to end up. Call the cops and tell them, come unlock my truck for me, right? Simple, easy. all taken care of. But I had a hissy fit over it, and I was embarrassed at myself. Fortunately, nobody was there to be an audience to it, but I was embarrassed with myself because here I am sweating all the small stuff. Absolutely no need for it. But because I managed to realize what I was doing to myself by getting all upset over something so small and so simple, all I was doing to myself was ruining part of my day. That's what sweating the small stuff does to each and every one of us. When we start sweating the small stuff, we start stealing the goodness out of our day with it. The Metal Music says, yep, when I'm ordering pizzas for pickup, they ask, is this you? Yep, okay, I'll give you the family discount. Oh, that's cool. the I have seen so many people have their whole days ruined. I've seen people have a whole week ruined because they sweated the small stuff. There's bigger things in life, you know. The I'll give you another example. This fella I worked with, what a character. This guy is a character. I don't remember what the item was that he wanted to buy, but the store that he was buying it from, the only place he could get this item, was about an hour's drive away. Well, he come into work one day and he's just, oh, he looked like he was upset. And I thought, boy, what upset him so early in the day? So I asked him, I said, what are you so upset about today? And he goes, well, after work yesterday, I drove all the way and he told me what store, and I knew which store that was. I said, oh, yeah, that's a 2-hour round trip. He goes, yeah. He says, I get there, get what I want. He says, I really wanted this thing. I got it, got up to the counter, they rang it up. And he said, I was just a little over $6 short of paying for it. He said, my credit card was back home. He says, all I did was, and he had a bad habit of that, he'd just grab his driver's license, stick it in his pocket, and off he'd go. Because he'd have a pocket full of cash, right? Well, when they rang it up, he said, I was certain I had enough cash to pay for it. And he says, I am so pissed off. I said, oh, you didn't have enough cash, huh? He goes, well, I did, except I forgot about the sales tax. So I had enough to pay the ticket price for it, but not the tax. And it came to $6 and something. So what he bought was like $104 or something like that. But he had the $104, but he didn't have the tax money to pay for it. Well, he don't know nobody in that town he drove an hour to. He don't know nobody there that can help him out. He says, there was nothing I could do except walk away. I drove all the way back home, and he said, so I didn't get that item. And he says, and I wanted it so bad. I've been waiting to get that. I was so happy that this week I had enough money to go get it. And he says, and I didn't get it because I didn't have tax money. And I said, well, go back down there. And I said, double the trip, but you still get what you want. Well, I shouldn't have to drive all the way back down there. And if it wasn't for our lousy state and their state taxes, so all of a sudden he's blaming everything on the state taxes. Well, then he turned it into blaming it on the governor. Then he turned it into, blaming it on anybody that ever voted for the governor. Then he started blaming it just on the world in general, and this went on for a week. You couldn't, any morning, you couldn't say to him, "Hey, good morning." He'd go, "Well, it'd be good if it wasn't for them damn sales taxes." And so all of a sudden, it's the taxes' fault that he didn't take enough money with him to purchase what he wanted. And he was so upset. And he was upset like that for a whole week. At the end of the week, on that Friday, I didn't find out till the following Monday, but on that, at the end of the week, at the end of the day, Friday, he had his paycheck in hand and off he went straight down to that store. He got there well before they closed, got the item he wanted, and he had it. And that following Monday, I asked him, I said, "Did you go get that item?" He goes, "Yeah, I went down there Friday." And I said, "So you're happy now?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm happy to have that item. You betcha. I am very happy to have that item." He says, "I feel a little better, a little better." I said, "Just a little better?" I said, "Do you realize how badly you sweat the small stuff?" I said, "For crying out loud, you were $6 short." I said, "I would have done one of two things. I would have gone out front of the store somewhere. It was in a shopping mall, and I would have held my hat out, take my hat, and hold my hat out, and begged for $6. And then I'd make it up. I'd go find some homeless person or something and buy him dinner or something when I got home. Or I'd just go home and say, well, that was my mistake. Stuff happens. I'm not going to let it ruin my whole day. I'm not going to especially let it ruin the whole week." But he did. And I mean, he wasn't sleeping well. He was just in a terrible mess over something that small, that small. So, and we're going to get in that after halftime here in the show. We're going to get into how do you define small versus large stuff, because it's different for everybody. It is. It's very different. So we're going to get into that right after the halftime break here. But I'll give you another quick example before halftime break. Now, this was not a terrible number of years back. It was just before my ex-wife and I got divorced. We had two other couples and us. We're all talking, we need to get together, just have a picnic. And we're all talking, and well, we knew about this remote lake. Now, it's a 45-minute drive from the very last business way out in the boonies to that lake, 45-minute drive. Nobody ever goes out there. So it's nice and private. It's a great place. 3 couples, 6 people. We're going to go out there and we're going to have a picnic out there. We'll grill some burgers and brats and have a bunch of salads and desserts and all that stuff. Well, doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? Well, you bet everybody was just wired, yes, we need this. Boy, it's going to be good for us. Well, one of those incidents, we get there. Now, we told them all, you don't need to bring anything. You don't need to bring food, nothing. It's our treat. We'll make sure everything's covered and we'll meet you there. Well, everybody meets up there, and I'm pulling all the coolers out of the truck. And, "Hey, Mike, Mike, good to see you, brother. I've been watching your last couple of videos posted, by the way, buddy. Yeah, you were kind of out of breath after moving all those servers. You take it easy. You take it easy, buddy. But so we're all there. We're all just thrilled. We're going to have this great picnic. Pulling all the coolers out. I got to looking through those coolers and I'm going, I yell at the wife, hey, 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 come here. She walks over and I go, where's the burgers and the brats? She goes, I don't know what cooler you put them in. I said, I didn't put them in the cooler. You were going to put all the meat in a cooler with the condiments, ketchup and mustard and relish. And she goes, I was? I said, well, you was, but I said, I was doesn't go very far because guess what? I didn't, and you obviously didn't. So there's no meat. There's no meat to grill. Well, she had a fit. She went bloody ballistic. She did admit that, oh, that's right, I was supposed to get the meat cooler together. I said, yeah, it was all in the fridge, ready to go. Just put it in the cooler and I'll. I said, but don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. We'll do something. She had a fit and she's telling me, you drive to town and get some meat to bring back out. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Well, at first she said, drive to the house and get the meat. I said, that ain't happening. That's an hour and a half home, 45 minutes from the closest business place to where we were, another 45 minutes to where we live. I said, no, I'm not going to. There's no way I am driving 3 hours to have a hamburger and a brat. That ain't happening. Well, then you go to town. This is ridiculous. You know how embarrassing this is? If they find out we didn't bring any meat and this, I said, they'll have to live with it. It's not a big deal. She did not understand. That was small stuff. It was small stuff because we had these big 40-quart coolers, and we had 2 coolers just filled with salads and cold type desserts. We had a macaroni shrimp salad. We had a chicken macaroni salad. We had a chicken bacon cheddar ranch salad. We had potato salad. We had homemade baked beans, a big, big pot of those. In fact, those were hot. They were put into, we had this, it's like a cooler, but it's made to keep things hot for hours. Plus, we had watermelon, muskmelon, other fruit. We had desserts. I can't remember what all we had for desserts. I told her, I said, it's virtually a buffet. And she said, but there's no meat. I said, there's 2 things with chicken and 1 thing that's got chicken and bacon in it. I said, plus there's the shrimp salad with big shrimp, not the little tiny shrimp. It's got big shrimp in it. I said, there's plenty of meat. It's just a cold picnic. And yeah, Lori J, me too. I love shrimp salads. Yeah. But she couldn't see it that way. But we have no real meat. We got no burgers. We got no brats. We got no chicken. We got nothing to grill. I said, but that's just small stuff. We're out here to enjoy each other's company and eat. And look at all of this food we've got. We don't need all the other meat. We can eat what's here and be. So even though she was mad, she says, don't you, we got to figure something out because I don't want the other 2 couples to know that we goofed up. That set me off. I went right over to the other 4 and I said, hey, here's the scoop, guys. Over there on that picnic table is all the food we brought. I said, what's not here is the food we didn't bring. And I said, that's the burgers and the brats. And they're going, oh, forgot the meat, eh? I said, yeah, things happen. They were good with it. They were good with it. And they walked over to that picnic table and looked at all the different salads that were there and desserts and fruit and everything else. Oh, yeah, we had raw vegetables with dip, it, everything except burgers and brats. We all ate like pigs, and everybody was just as happy as could be. But my ex wife got so upset over it that it spoiled the whole picnic for her. She was still upset the following day that the whole picnic was ruined because we forgot the meat. And I said, if you ask any of the other five of us how that picnic went, every one of us will tell you it was awesome and the food was great. She was sweating the small stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff. It steals your joy out of your day. Hey, we're going to go into halftime here. We're going to chat some more about the small stuff, sweating the small stuff. But I have to shout out for all my great channel members. So don't anybody go anywhere. This only takes about a minute. And just take note of all these great channels that keep this channel alive and going. So here they are, folks. Awesome people, awesome channels, awesome. The Lori said, but the picnic was not ruined. Okay. And my mother would have turned around, put out a picnic lunch or whatever I think was on hand in each of us our fishing poles and said, "You want some kind of meat? Go fishing for it." I love that. I love that. That is awesome. You're darn right. Hey, you guys want some meat with our picnic lunch? There's fishing rods. Get down to the lake and catch us some fish for lunch. Yeah. I love homemade deviled eggs at the picnics too. Okay, so I'm gonna a little more examples of the small stuff that a person ends up sweating, and then I'm gonna get into what's small, what's large. Now, okay, I was telling you earlier that because of my hosting position this summer at a campground for the whole summer, I've been really sweating the details of it. What about this? What about that? What do I do for this? How do I do that? And I've been sweating it, and it's been eating at me, and I've been stressing over it. And I should never have done that. I shouldn't have allowed it to get to me that way because it was small stuff. It was all things that, relax, Sty. You're going to get an answer. Don't, just because you don't get it today doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Everything's going to go to pot on you, you know. And I be lady, uh, and I so I get a phone call this morning, and it's my Forest Service supervisor. Everything he's got every duck in a row. Every question I had, I didn't have to ask any of those questions. He offered the answers in our conversation. He did 90% of the talking, and he offered an answer to every one of those things I was sweating for the last month. I mean, a good month. I didn't have to sweat any of that. He had it all ready, answered, and worked out for me. And he wasn't going to call me every other day and say, "Oh, I got this worked out," and then call me in another day and say, "Oh, I got that worked out." Blah, 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 for the last month. He made sure that all the ducks were in a row, and then he gave me a call and filled me in. In fact, he went way beyond my expectations, and he's feeling really bad for me because I won't have Starlink right away, so I can do live streams from camp. And he says, absolutely no problem. I will leave camp Wednesday morning and I'll come back Thursday morning. So Wednesday nights during camp, I'll be doing a live stream right from here, from this studio, instead of out at camp. And I'll be uploading content from the prior week. I'll be making a lot of videos, a lot of content. But I told him, I said, the biggest problem is that you have a notebook to jot down big cheese stuff. Yeah. But he says, the only thing I haven't worked out yet is what he says, but we'll get it, is to figure out how we'll get you propane. I said, well, what in the heck are you giving me that needs propane, for out there? And he goes, well, no, you need propane, right, for your camper? I said, I use very, very little propane, very little. I said, I use those little green cylinders for my Coleman stove, and that's it. I said, I've got 12-volt lighting. I said, and I use the Coleman cook stove when the weather's inclement or if I'm just not up to doing a fire. Otherwise, I'm cooking over the fire pit all the time. He goes, so you're not using propane? I said, just a little bit. He goes, oh, I was trying to work it out where we could get you a 20-pound cylinder of propane, a couple times a month, this and that. I said, no, I don't need it. Don't waste taxpayers' money on that. I don't need it. And he goes, oh, well, okay, that's one less. He says, I'll take that off my list. He says, but I got everything else squared away. He says, we got you your truck. You'll have your truck. And we got you all set up because there's certain training things I have to do. You got to do this defensive driver's test. That's a written kind of test thing. And I've got to go through training because if I'm going to be operating a chainsaw for the Forest Service, I got to go through their training. Plus, I have to renew my CPR certification. So I got to go to CPR class. He says, and you got plenty of time to do that because he said, you can do it whenever you want, but until you do it, you're not allowed to operate chainsaw, I said, I can operate that big commercial grade weed whip with a big saw blade on it, but I can't run a chainsaw. He says, yeah, the rules are weird. He says, you can operate the weed eater. You can operate ride mower, zero turn mower. He says, you can basically operate anything except a chainsaw without going through that safety course and having CPR training. I said, no, why do you need CPR training to run a chainsaw? if you're not fit enough to run a chainsaw without having a heart attack, I mean, come on. He said, I told you the rules are weird. Hey, Donald Morris, great to see you out there. The very strange rules. But so he's got all of my ducks in a row. Hey, Mike's Outdoors and Adventures, great to see you. Great to see you. So everything I've been sweating for a month, this guy's been taking care of it. And he tells me this morning, just boom, 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 boom. I think there was like 17 items on my question list. He answered every single one, plus some. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I was sweating all of that time, worrying about the small stuff, and it seemed like there were so many small issues. It became a big issue. Um, so so I again practice what I preach, right? Why sweat the small stuff? You should get through your day a lot happier by simply saying, "Hey, I'm not going to sweat that. Big deal. Stuff happens. Things happen." So, for the tail end of the show here, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about what is small, what is large. Now, I know people, I've known a lot of people over the years. A small thing can happen, and it's a big issue. It's a big issue to them. And everybody else is going, boy, they're all upset. That's just a simple little thing. The thing is unless you truly know that person and understand where they're coming from, that little thing to the rest of us might be a traumatic thing to that person. It might be a real issue. And it could be because of something that happened prior in their lives or something, and that issue triggers an emotion that seems excessive. You have the other extreme. I've known people that have had literal tragedies happen in their lives, and they go, oh, well, stuff happens. And they just move on, and they're happy as can be, and everything's okay. It's a major issue, and everybody's going, why are they acting? They're not even reacting to it. It's like, yeah, so what? It's not a big deal. They act like it's small stuff, but the rest of the world seeing it as, this is huge. Well, it's because we're all individuals and things impact us so differently across the board. All of us take things a little differently. And I think it's important to understand that when a person seems to overreact to a small issue, instead of getting defensive towards them and saying, hey, you don't have to blow a cork over such a little thing and on and on. Don't challenge them. Don't make accusations about how the way they feel is invalid. We should never go there. We should simply say, wow, it's hard for me to understand why this is so important to you and why it's affecting you so badly. Can you explain it to me? And then instead of them ragging, they may start actually opening up to you and explaining why this little issue is so big to them. Oh my gosh. Oh, Mike, that you you are you are so big and awesome. I mean, that is so sweet, so sweet. You know the yeah, I see Mike holding a big fish, and that was in my conversation today with my supervisor with the Forest Service. He says, "I hope you plan on doing a lot of fishing." I said, Yeah, if the time is there, I'll be fishing. And he says, "Oh, you gotta fish. You gotta learn the lake. You gotta learn the lake because all of your campers, most of them will be out of towners, and they're gonna want to know what kind of fish are in that lake. Where's the best? Where's the hot spots? Where you know?" He says, "So I hope you like fishing a lot because that's one of the questions they seem to always ask is where's the best spot to catch crappies? Where's the best spot to musky fish? Where are all the largemouth bass?" I said, "Okay, I'll go out there and learn." Hey, Maddie Spice, great to see you. Great to see you. A-OK Foraging and Adventures. Awesome. It's awesome seeing you. Yeah. I don't know if it's Stack and Brenda or just Stack. It doesn't matter. I love seeing you here. It's great. It's great. The but when it comes right down to what is you know, a small thing that you're sweating, that you're worried about, that you put so much effort into. What is a small thing? Well, like I said, for each individual, it can be totally different, totally different. Now, to me, I have gotten so used to I've injured my left hand is the worst. My right hand's had its fair share, but my left hand, I injure it all the time. I've had some pretty major to the bone cuts, that required several stitches to get it put back together. Had this hand crushed one time and really destroyed my pinky, my little finger, and this thumb and my pointing finger is really messed up. But it's happened so many times that the last time I cut this finger right to the bone, and it was pretty good. It was a big cut. About half of the finger cut totally down to the bone. And when I cut it, I looked at it and I go, "Ha, shit. Well, that's going to be inconvenient." I bound it all up and I went to the emergency rooms, and they go, "Oh, you again?" I said, "Yeah. You want to stitch this up for me?" And they go, "Well, you don't seem very upset about it." And I said, "Why?" I said, "You stitch it up. In a week, it'll be good again. It's not worth getting all upset about." I said, "I feel stupid for cutting it again, but I'm not gonna I'm not going to allow myself to sweat that because it's small stuff to me." But now there's people, they get a cut like that. Holy God, they'll faint, they'll cry, they're depressed, and they're suffering a ton of anxiety because the doctor's gonna stitch that up. And you got to be understanding that for me, it's small stuff. To somebody else, that could be tragic to them. That could be actually tragic to them. So we have to be a little bit careful when we say, "Oh, that is so trivial. That's such a little thing, and they're all upset about it." Well, you're not them. It could be major to them. It really could. And they're sweating it because it is major to them. And again, like I had said, what you want to do is try to trigger a conversation to find out why is it so traumatic to them? Why is that small stuff so important that they're going to ruin their day? They're going to be so upset for the rest of the day. Find out why. Find out why are they reacting that way. The Everybody out there generally deals with things differently than other people. Sometimes it appears that we deal with things all the same, but really, when you drill down into it, we all react to anything just a little bit different than anybody else because we're all individuals, we're all special in our own ways. And the Yeah, Will the Rocker says, I agree. Seen a lot worse. Not fun. My friend works in the ER. Oh yeah, yeah. And I've had to deal with a lot of critical injuries in positions I've had in the past, and accidents out in the field, all different types of things. But I don't expect someone else to react to a situation the same way I do. I don't expect them to act better than me or worse than me. I don't expect anything from somebody when it comes to something that impacts them. The Now I have learned to try to manage someone that gets totally out of control over small stuff. If a person's not going to be, if they're not critically injured, if they're not, it's not that tragic, but this person is totally out of control over it. You have to bring them down and in control because they're sweating the small stuff beyond reason. What I'm talking about is just sweating the simple things. Here's another one. I have been waiting 3 days. This is the third day. I bought myself a new instrument. I bought myself a mandolin. Okay. This mandolin was supposed to be delivered 3 days ago. That's the worst turnaround I've ever seen from Amazon. They are sending me messages. Nope, there's going to be a delay. It'll be here tomorrow. They said that 3 days ago. But they kept saying that day it'll be delivered by 8 p.m. They waited until 8:15 p.m. to say, nope, you're not getting it today. Well, duh. It'll be there tomorrow. Well, the next day, that was yesterday, it said that it was supposed to be here by 8 p.m. yesterday. Sure enough, 8:15 last night. Nope. If you don't get it tomorrow, if you don't get your package tomorrow, contact us. We'll give you a refund and or ship it back, ship you a second one. So it shows up. It doesn't show up with the carrier when they stopped here. And I thought, here we go. Day 3, and it's not here. It's not here. 2:00 this afternoon. They bring packages to our building here never any later than 10:00 in the morning. You just don't see them. Well, middle of the afternoon, knock at my door, and here they are dropping it off. For the last 3 days, each day, I wanted that thing so bad. I was so in the mood to start learning to play that instrument. And I didn't have it. And it didn't come when I needed it in my mind. And I realized right from the get-go, the first day it didn't show up, I stopped myself and I go, all right, relax. It's small stuff. It'll get here eventually. It'll get here. And I'm allowing myself to feel upset because it's a want. And I shouldn't be upset over having to wait a little while for a want. Now, if it was a need, if I hadn't eaten in 3 days and that was my next meal coming, now that would be big stuff, not small stuff. They didn't deliver my lunch. That's big stuff. I'm hungry. They didn't deliver my mandolin, and I want to start learning how to play it. I want to start learning how to play it. Or the lunch I needed, small or big. Lunch was a big issue. Mandolin, that's a small stuff item. It'll get here. I've gone without playing the mandolin for my whole life. What's 1 or 2, 3 days? It's not going to kill me. It's not going to wreck it. It's not going to make me not want to play. I was just feeling a little selfish, because that was my wanna thing. That was a wanna something, and they're holding it up. So I'm as guilty as anybody out there of allowing myself to sweat the small stuff. But I insist on excuse me. I insist on myself stopping and saying, quit sweating that small stuff. Finish out your day, have a good day. Don't let this wreck your perfect day with one little small thing that went to hell. I mean, come on. And laugh a little and say, geez, tomorrow's another day. What the heck? Yes, bee lady, I'm happy you got yourself one. You can learn it at camp. That's it. All three of these instruments I'm going to be really putting the time into out at camp. My evenings, when the sun sets, I always have an hour or two before I call it a night. And now I can spend an hour of practicing on these instruments and getting, and that's the thing too, is I had a couple people tell me, Sty, you're taking on too much. Now you got 3 instruments. You're going to try to learn how to play. And I try to explain to them, no, I got that figured out. There's a reason why I've got the 3 instruments I have. The dulcimer is a 3-string instrument. There's 4 strings on it, but technically it's considered a 3-string instrument. The hobo, which is like a dobro, is a 4-string instrument. The mandolin technically is a 4-string instrument. It's got 8 strings, but each pair are tuned identically. So, and you play it as a 4-string instrument. 4-string, 4-string, 3-string with 4 strings on it. The whole musical theory of all 3 of these instruments is the same. So as I learn one, I can apply it to the other. Everything I can play on the dulcimer, I'll be able to play on the hobo and the mandolin. So, of course, the dulcimer, hobo, and mandolin will progress in that fashion. So, everybody says, but do you realize how much work and how much time it'll take for you to learn those? Now, to me, that's sweating the small stuff. What do I care? If it takes me 2 years to finally feel comfortable playing those instruments, I'm good with that. I'm not going to sweat the small stuff. Oh, I can't be a good mandolin player for at least 8 or 10 months. No, I've met some mandolin players that spent years developing their skill, and they are now very, very skilled. But their first couple of years, yeah, they stuck around the campfire with their instrument and didn't perform for audiences. They performed for friends and family, and that's it. The the mandolins. The mandolins. I got it. I got a case. Yeah, you betcha. The yeah, my instruments will be very safe. Very safe. I can't get it in the camera, but yeah. It's a great case too. You know, it's a gig bag, but it's heavily insulated. It's great. It's a great bag. Great bag. Especially if you're dealing with from indoors to outdoors and back and forth, back and forth. That bag is great because it doesn't get a humidity shock, which is great. Yeah. But there we are, guys. It's the end of the show. But don't sweat the small stuff. Make sure to come on back Friday evening at 5 p.m. Central Time. We'll have another topic. Of course, you're going to see that on the little exit that I do. And if you're available tomorrow night around the campfire at 7 p.m. Central Time, hey, all of you take very good care of yourselves. I want to thank each and every one of you. You're all very, very important to me. So until the next one, you all take good care of yourselves and have a nice day. And don't sweat the small stuff. Bye bye.